Hi everyone, welcome back to Eclectic. Alu, happy holidays, felices fiestas, feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, happy holidays if you don't, to all religions, all types of different holidays. Happy holidays to all of you. Today I wanted to answer more questions, and so there's one that has been recurring either from my clients or from comments in my videos, so I wanted to address that because I haven't talked about this yet. So you may think you are a narcissist, okay? You are doubting yourself whether, am I the narcissist? Really? That's what, that's the question that I get. Am I the narcissist? Am I not? There are two main reasons that I want you to keep in mind. Usually when people are narcissistic, it's like, whew, they don't believe they're narcissistic. That's one cue, let's say, clue that we have. The second one is, although it may happen, okay? So we have to keep our minds open. This is scientific, okay? So, but it's less likely that that is the case. So people that are narcissistic, they won't say, okay, I think I'm a narcissist, okay? That doesn't happen that easily. The other reason this may be happening is you identifying with the abuser, identification with the abuser or the perpetrator, or narcissistic fleas, as they call them, okay? And this is the fleas that you pick up by being in a relationship with a narcissistic person. Suddenly, you feel like you lose yourself. We've covered this before, like you lose your identity, who you are, your sparkle, your colors, your fun part, all that makes you unique and very attractive at the beginning. Also for the narcissist, you're very attractive for narcissists because they want that, we talked about this. I'm going to link videos here. They want that side of you. They want to be like you. It's weird. They think that by associating with you, they will acquire those qualities. But then, after the love bombing, after the idealization part of the cycle of abuse passes, what happens is they start to transform you into the abuser, okay? So this is how you pick up these fleas, or you start identifying with the abuser, because you find out somehow with all the positive and negative reinforcements and to keep the peace that you want to appease the abuser, you want to be liked, approved, and you want to reach that stage of idealization again. And in order to achieve that, you have to start doing a lot of things that you believe the abuser will like them, okay? So you start behaving like the abuser, like the narcissistic person, and you start losing parts of yourself because the abuser starts to devalue you, right? For the same very reasons. It's crazy, that's why it's a disorder, okay? But for the same very reasons that you have been targeted, maybe that the abuser went to try, the love bombing stage, did a lot of fun things to get you, to hook you at the beginning. That's what the abuser will start to devalue, okay? And so somehow this dynamic makes you start to behave in a way that is very similar to the abuser. This is why you may be feeling like you are the narcissist, okay? That's another reason. So that's called picking up the fleas from the narcissist, or the narcissistic person, or identification with the abuser. So you may start to lose your moral norms that you have very well internalized during your teenage years, which is during your childhood. Maybe you have values, you have morals, you know what's right, what's wrong. You're internalized the norms of the society. Sorry for the noises. This is a noisy place where I am, but that's what it is. Oh, what a lovely dog. I know that dog. It's the cutest thing. I should film it when I go down. It's always outside, but it's very loud. It's such a cute dog, but it's very loud. Okay, so So what I was saying was, okay, so you internalize the norms and things that you know to behave correctly in a society. But what's typical of psychopaths or of narcissists is that they don't internalize those norms. They hate hierarchy. They hate somebody else having power over them. They don't like being bossed around. They despise authority. They want to be on top. They are narcissists. Remember, they want to be on top. So they don't like that. So they have their own rules. They do whatever they want. They cheat, they lie, they steal. So you may find yourself doing little things like falsifications of things, or maybe doing things that you would never do. And that's why you may feel like you're a narcissist, okay? But you're not. You just need to heal from this relationship and dust off those fleas, okay? And start analyzing which behaviors are not okay, and start behaving in a way that you usually used to behave, okay? So remembering who you are, this is so huge. You have to remember who you were before the relationship and who you are really. You know, in psychology we talk about the self, which is, and many religions do so as well with different words, but it's the self that keeps you healthy, and that is the self that is love for yourself, unconditional love. All that comes from the self, okay? So you have to remember who you are. You have to remember what your self looks like, what it does. It's healthy, it's good, it's fun. This is why you will see me in a Father Christmas hat later on, because one of my subscribers in my Spanish speaking channel said, okay, what is it? It would be fun if you could wear that, and say, yeah, okay, we'll do that. It's fun. You know, abusers want you to be strict. All that is perfectionism, plainness, rusticness, like simplicity, excessive, like everything is, stark, and, all that is not you. You are fun, you're flexible. So remember who you are. This has a lot to do with believing that you're a narcissist, because in order to appease the beast, like I say, or to make the abuser happy, you had to mold yourself, transform yourself into something else that you are not, which is what is accepted by the abuser, which is whatever the abuser wants you to be doing, okay? Because it's better for them, because they're narcissists. Whatever is best for them, that is what you have to do, okay? And the third reason that you may be thinking that you're a narcissist is that maybe the narcissist is projecting, okay? They're telling you overtly, like, oh, you did this to me, you're a narcissist. You did this to me, you're not playing the victim again. You're aggressive. You're for once you're stating a point, and suddenly you're the aggressor. Okay, you're setting a boundary, and you're aggressive. Oh, you're aggressive. They love that. You're so aggressive. When they are so passive aggressive all the time, and if they are covert, right? But if they are not overt narcissists, they are yelling and screaming and raging and all that. But the coverts, oh gosh, those are Academy Award winning actors, right? They project, they do this. So this is what's happening, and then they do this, whoops, onto you, like you are the one, right? You are the one that is being aggressive. You, for setting boundaries, oh, you're so aggressive, all that. Okay, I'm repeating myself now, but that's the case. So those are the three reasons why you may think you're a narcissist. Okay, now I want to talk about cults. There's so much similarity between cults and narcissistic abuse. So Alexandra Stein, she wrote a book about cults. She does a lot of work around cults and investigates that and teaches, and her book is great. She talks about terror and love and isolation. Does this ring any bells? It's the same dynamic. So being in a cult, I think if you have been in a relationship with a narcissistic person, you have been in a cult, okay? In a very tiny, teeny, small cult. And because love bombing is there, for example. Sorry for the chanting dogs again. Love bombing comes from cults. I think it's the Moonies. The Moonies were the ones that used that word, where everybody was smiling. That's called in the 70s. Everybody was smiling and always happy. If you see people that are always smiling and happy, oh yes, we never fight, we never disagree, we never, so fake. Run. Okay, it's fake. Nobody is always like this. It gives me the creeps, really. It's nobody's always like that, okay? Humans are flawed individuals, and that's what makes them attractive. Not being perfect. Perfectionism is cult-like thinking. It's what the abuser wants you to be, right? They want you to be perfect, and because it's impossible, okay? So that's a great way for you to suffer, because nobody is ever perfect, okay? So perfectionism and always being, yes, I'm happy, so love bombing, and even there was a belief, because they instill in you beliefs, they put beliefs in your brain. I'm going to talk about that too, how they do that. But like everybody had to be happy in that cult, right? Always smiling. They would restrict your sleep, but at 2 a.m. in the morning you had to be smiling, okay? And yes, we're all happy, Don't wake me up at 2 a.m. That's not a good idea, okay? So, but people had to wake up and be happy and smile. Yeah, okay, that's fake, right? So love bombing comes from that cult. Then drinking the Kool-Aid comes from another cult, which is Jim Jones' cult, where 900 members of the People's Temple drank Kool-Aid with poison in it, and they died. What happened is the leader made them drink that. He convinced everybody that they had to drink that and kill themselves, okay? It was a massive suicide that happened. And so cults are very dangerous. Everything that restricts your individuality, your creativeness, your fun, it's the same thing happens with narcissists, okay? They use this method of brainwashing. That's very typical in cults and in narcissistically abusive relationships. They brainwash you, they isolate you, and they there's one paper that I wrote about hypnotizing. They use this hypnosis. I think everybody can use hypnosis, okay? There's a trance that you are right now, if you're listening to me, that you need to, even for studying, for watching a movie, you have to be sort of in a trance where you're paying attention to myself, right? But then there are levels of that. So the hypnosis part in cults and in abusive relationships with narcissistic people is manipulative. They manipulate your food intake, maybe. Start thinking about things like that, very subtle. They may manipulate your sleep patterns, and suddenly they wake you up at night, or they won't let you sleep, or they criticize your sleep, or they criticize your eating habits, and they will either restrict food. They do this a lot. They can restrict food, and they will they can give you too much food that's not good for you. They will restrict drinks, water, food, you name it. And so that's a great way to manipulate people, because you are sort of in a trance, okay? And so when you're in this trance, you are easily manipulated, okay? They can put your ideas into your unconscious, and they also use repetition. So think about your relationship. This happens in cults, okay? So this is why I'm saying you've been in a mini cult, mini small cults with one person, because they do all these things, narcissistic people, and they do this naturally. I don't know, some of them actually read books and study this if they're psychopathic, and they read this, they study this, and they put it into practice with their victims. So they restrict your sleep and your food intake, and this is a great way for you are in a state of trance where you are easily influenced and manipulated. This is when they start repeating things. Repetition is a big thing here. Also, they repeat the same things. Like, for example, your family doesn't love me, your family doesn't love me, your family doesn't love me. You know, in different times of the day. Or, for example, your mom and dad did this and it's not good, and they repeat that, or your brother did this, your sister did this, your niece did this is not good, you know. And they start, when you're in this stage, sleep deprived, food deprived, tired, because they make you work. They don't work, they make you work, okay? And so you are the one that sometimes has to bring food to the table and also take care of the kids, and while they sleep. There are a lot of cases like that. And they, you know, and you start to get into this trance where you want to appease the beast, which is the abuser, and so you start doing everything for them. Nothing is ever enough. This is very common in narcissistic abuse. Nothing is ever enough. Whatever you do is not enough, and so that's the wheel, you know, spinning the wheel like the rats in the lab, never ending. You exhaust yourself, you lose yourself also, because while you're in this state, you're in a sort of a trance where you're easily manipulated, you can't think right, and this is the similarities with cults. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to mention about cults is that the leaders, like narcissists, are authoritarian and very charismatic, okay? They are very charismatic, but also they instill terror in the victim, okay? This is what the abuser does as well. This is the way they hook you. They're charismatic, but then you're afraid of them. Fear, obligation, and guilt. Get out of the fog, okay? They keep you there because you're afraid of them, because you are terrorized, you are obligated, or you are guilty. Okay, they make you feel guilty. Guilt is not healthy, you know. It's not part of a normal relationship. You're not supposed to feel guilty about everything you do. You're not supposed to feel guilt for following what you like, okay, what you want to do. As long as you don't harm anybody and you are, you know, you're doing things, normal things, you don't have to be guilty about that. So they make you feel guilty for the stupidest things, and that is not healthy. So you can get rid of those fleas, of those narcissistic fleas, or your identification with the abuser, sometimes even 3 years after the relationship is over. These flashes of, whoa, I'm doing this because I was trained, programmed by the narcissistic person in my life to do this. I have clients that have found themselves buying the same type of milk that the abuser likes, even years after, until they realize, whoa, this is not what I want. This is not what I like. I'm doing this because I'm programmed. So this trance state that I talk about is the reason why this is so embedded in your unconscious, so like taped, you know, it's there. So it's very hard to get rid of those fleas. And so one way to do that is being mindful of your thoughts, going to therapy. Going to therapy is great because you get to analyze your thinking and your feelings, your emotions, and all that, and you can get to quicker to conclusions to, oh, I do this because I was programmed to do this. This is not me. Anything that is strict, stark, perfect, restricted, that's not you. You're flexible, you're happy, you're fun, you do weird things sometimes, but you're a good person. You have morals internalized. They are not. They want perfection, which is stupid. They want all sorts of things that we are not. So remember who you are. That's my message for today. And if you think you're a narcissist, I hope by the end of this video you're not thinking that anymore. And if you think you are, good for you. Go to a therapist, a good one that specializes on narcissism, and work on that. But if you have identified yourself with any of these 3 things that I mentioned at the beginning, that's what you need to work on. Get rid of the narcissistic fleas. Realize you may have bought into the idea of you being the aggressor when the narcissist is playing the victim. And so I hope I can see you in my next video, and happy holidays to everyone. Felices fiestas, que la pasen lindo. Ciao, bye bye, see you soon. Subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks, bye bye.